Welcome to TechNOW. I'm your host, John Reed, CEO of CAT Alliance, and we're joined today by Lynn Bloom, adjunct research professor at Carleton University School of Social Work, who has some questions for us on advocacy in social media. Lynn Bloom, over to you.
Hi, John. I really want to say, first of all, thank you very much for spending the time with us to talk to us about how you have been able to promote so many ideas and social issues as well as economic issues for people in the government and others, and get some ideas from you on how you use social media to do that.
You know, it's a good question. I'll try to simplify. Really, the first step is, it's called a campaign. So you have to rally around a campaign. And to get to a campaign, there's really three questions. The first one being, whom do you want to influence in the campaign? What are the decision makers that you want to change their ways? You have to ask them something. Second question is, what do you want them to do? Be very clear about the outcome. Do they have to change a particular policy? Do they have to increase investment? Be very clear about what you want them to do. And third, why is the issue important? And that's where you speak from the heart. You speak from the importance of change being made and some of the benefits of that change being made. And once you've responded to those three questions, you then create the template. And that's where social media comes in. Because you remember I mentioned reaching the decision makers. Well, social media is an accelerator. It's a massive multiplier that you can use to reach thousands and thousands of people. And in today's world, people are measuring social media conversation. So you have to look at every contact you have on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Pinterest. You have to add those up and reach all of those opt-in users, those decision makers with your campaign. And if you do that, you begin to have traction. So that's really, a very quick definition of campaign in the use of social media.
And so, what I'm hearing you say is the first step being, who are the people that you want to influence? The second step, as I'm understanding, is what is the issue? And the third step would be, why is that important? What?
That's correct. Any campaign will follow these three basics.
Okay.
And if you're unable to answer those three questions, you really aren't in the position to launch the campaign to mobilize social media, because people will figure out fairly quickly whether it's a valid issue or not.
Okay, so once you've decided who the people are and what the issue is and why it's important, how do you know who to reach on social media? Do you just fan out to every person you know, or how do you approach this, John?
Well, you will have a subject area expert. For example, in the area of, you do research in terms of, social work, you will understand whether an issue is valid or not. And hence you will have confidence that whatever you say, has import, has content. Also, since you're in the field of social work, you will have a peer group that is on Facebook, that is on the various social media. So you'll be going out to your group, your key organizing group, and you'll be asking them to provide you with their contact list. I mean, basically, social media, they're massive contact lists. We used to call them databases, but now they're organic. They grow exponentially. And that really is mobilizing the social network for a common cause.
Yeah, it's interesting that, way back we used to pick up the phone and call the people we knew and say, you tell that other person, and it would spread that way through phone. But what you're saying is now it's imperative, if you have a systemic, an issue that goes beyond an individual concern, but rather we are looking for social change. For example, if we had an issue related to housing or an issue related to home care or anything, that we have the potential, we wouldn't necessarily use the same means, but we have the potential to reach many more people than we would have otherwise by phone, for example.
Absolutely. And by the way, you should still use the phone. You have to use all of your communication tools. So it's traditional and new media. But if you don't embrace new media in today's world, the chances of advancing your campaign for social good is diminished considerably. You really have to reach the citizens, and that's what social media allows you to do. In a very positive way, you can build a massive support network in support of your cause.
That sounds, it sounds like something that we should know about, especially new counselors, new social workers. They'll know, they're more used to using social media than people from my generation, say, but I think we can all learn from what you're sharing with us. In fact, we've been talking about the use of video as one means of passing on information, and as a powerful means that can, through YouTube, etc. Could you speak to that? It's the use of video for a minute here.
Well, Lynn, as you know, when we first met, I mentioned that I thought we should do this using video because that is a very powerful medium. People can see body language. It allows you to reach anyone in the world at any time. Yes. So just because you're doing the campaign in Canada, that doesn't mean that there may be somebody in London, England, who is really a thought leader that you can bring in to strengthen your messaging. So video allows you to emphasize, it allows you to outreach, it allows you to empower, it strengthens your whole campaign, and that has to be understood and used as part of your social media strategy.
So, and as you know, it doesn't take that much to learn how to use video. I think, especially now with the computers we have, we can use our computers to make videos. But one of the concerns always that we have is about what we say and where we post. And I know I asked you this previously, and you said to me to be quite astute and aware of confidentiality issues, political, not stepping on toes. So how do we know, like, what to put in a video and what not? What kind of approach would you say to have with that?
Well, I would suggest that your team have someone that has some legal experience, because there are privacy issues. There are risks when you message, and that can work against the campaign. But there's three words: prepare, prepare, prepare. You have to make sure the people that are being interviewed understand some of the communication risks. So that's a very key consideration when using social media, because once you launch it, it's very hard to stop it.
That's right. And from my experience, when we have an issue that goes beyond an individual, and we're having to advocate for social change where we are asking or pointing something out to the government or to city council, that it's always wise to do that in a group rather than just going off, an individual counselor going off and making her own video or his own video and posting it on YouTube. Who it's coming from, who the message is coming from, is important.
Well, that's why partners are important, and you're quite correct. This thing cannot be done piecemeal. That's why there has to be organization. That's why you need someone in charge of the campaign. That's why you have to involve thought leaders, because it is a credibility issue. People will not respond unless they feel the issue is credible, unless they feel it's validated. So if there's research studies, if there's surveys that you can bring in, things that will make people more comfortable that the message really has content and is valid. You must have a valid campaign.
Yes, the idea of what you call them, thought experts, is that what you call them? Thought
leaders or expertise in different areas of the particular issue that you're addressing. So I know you're doing, and again, I'm just watching the time here. I know you're going to be using this video as part of a session that you're putting together. Can you tell us a little bit about exactly what you're doing at that session?
Yes. Well, we're going to start off the session with some talking about what resources are around for counselors to help clients who are having difficulty accessing housing, legal help, homemaking, counseling, all that. So what are the resources in Ottawa, and how you connect? Then on a one-to-one basis, how when people encounter difficulties as counselors and their clients is accessing those resources, how they can work on with those organizations to get things to move more quickly. But then I'm going to talk as well about issues that go beyond a counselor and a client. When the counselor is noticing now that 10 people have the same problem with homemaking being cut, or their housing, their rent has gone up. When a counselor wants to has identified an issue that goes beyond, how what are the means for advocating in a broader way than on a one-to-one level? And then that's where I wanted them to be aware of social media and how you use it for that.
Well, Lynn, I think we've created a bit of content, rich content for that class. So let me welcome everyone to your class. And thank you, Lynn Bloom, Adjunct Research Professor at Carleton University School of Social Work. Thank you for being part of a conversation on advocacy and social media.
Thanks, John.